I'm going to have to read a little bit off the phone here for the bios, but Kelley Griffin has been working with UNC Wilmington, the Office of Admissions, for over 8 years. And she recently assumed the role of Transfer Admissions Coordinator for the Online Accelerated Program. And is currently working to obtain her master's degree in public sociology and with a focus in the sociology of education. And Jessica Overton, currently a Transfer Admissions Coordinator at UNC Wilmington. More than 3 years experience working with non-traditional and military-affiliated adult students in Germany. As a field representative for the University of Maryland University College. As a graduate of University of Maryland University College with a Bachelor of Arts in English. And is currently pursuing a Master's in Public Administration at UNC Wilmington. So welcome and thank you.
Thank you. So now that you guys know a little bit about us, we kind of like to get to know you more. So we're just going to ask a couple icebreaker type questions. How many of you guys went straight to college out of high school, stayed for 4 years, and then graduated? Okay, a lot of you. Did anybody transfer schools, maybe from a 4-year to a 2-year, 2-year to 4-year? Okay. And did anybody maybe start college a little bit later in life, after they were 20, mid-20s? Okay, so as you can see, even in this room, not everybody has a traditional college experience. And so when we created this presentation, our purpose really was to raise awareness about non-traditional students. Kelley and I both had non-traditional student experiences, and in our jobs every day we deal with students that are having similar experiences. So we really wanted to create a presentation where we could talk about them and raise awareness, how to recruit these students, how to enroll them, and really how to tailor your approach as an admissions counselor or wherever office you're working in to really benefit these students. So that's kind of what we're talking about today. Part of that, we're going to go over who we classify as non-traditional students. Basically, we use the age qualifier, so if they're over the age of 24. But of course, that's not the only identifier that makes somebody a non-traditional student, so just keep that in mind. We'll also go over some data comparisons from the past 3 years at UNCW, what the information that Kelley and I found, the conclusions that we drew from that, and how we can use that moving forward in our office. And then finally, we'll go over some recruitment and enrollment strategies that we already have in place for non-traditional students. And then we'd really like to sort of open it up and have a dialogue, maybe get some feedback from you guys about non-traditional populations that you work with, so we can sort of share some ideas as a group. So first, Kelley's going to go over some information about Wilmington and UNCW just to give you a context so you know who our students are, why they come to us. And then we'll go over 4 distinct non-traditional populations at UNCW. So we're going to talk about the non-traditional population at our main campus. We'll also talk about our extension site as well as our online accelerated program students. And then we'll talk about our military affiliated students.
So Wilmington, North Carolina is located on the North Carolina-South Carolina border. It's right on the coast. We have a population of just over 112,000. In 2014, we were voted the best riverfront by USA Today. So these items, as well as the fact that we're located near several military bases, and the fact that we're home to a large film industry, really attracts this non-traditional population to the Wilmington area. And it's a great selling point of the university for this group to come to UNCW. Now, UNCW is affectionately known as North Carolina's Coastal University. We are a 5-mile drive from Wrightsville Beach, as well as a 5-mile drive to downtown Wilmington. We are one of 17 public institutions within the UNC system. We were founded in 1947, and each of the UNC schools has their own admissions policies, as well as their own policies and procedures within the actual university. Now, our student population is right around 14,000, and as you can see, we have a very large undergraduate population of about 13,000. So we are a very undergraduate-focused university. So this non-traditional population, as well as any kind of population in this undergraduate realm, is very important to us in the recruitment and the enrollment population of them.
So in addition to offering degree programs and courses at our main campus in Wilmington, we also have an extension site, which is located in Jacksonville, North Carolina. That's about an hour's drive north of Wilmington. And the reason for having the extension site, from the map, as you can see, we have several military bases that are located in southeastern North Carolina. Almost every branch of the military is represented here on this map. We have Coast Guard, Marine Corps, Army, Navy at Camp Lejeune, and there's also a small Air Force base in Goldsboro. So in 1995, a partnership was started with Coastal Carolina Community College, where students would attend Coastal for 2 years. Then they would transfer to UNCW, but they could remain at the extension site and finish their degree. There are 5 undergraduate degree programs offered there, 2 of which are fully online. And the significance of that is that these students are able to have accessibility to UNCW, they're able to complete their bachelor's degree, but they don't have to do the commute. Because that's a long drive for students that are working full-time, they may be active duty military or military dependents with families and other responsibilities. In addition to that, we also have one online accelerated program. It's an RN to BSN program. So it's fully online, so everything from orientation to advising to the courses are done completely online. In order to participate in the program, applicants must already have their RN license, so that it has to be current and unencumbered. And then in addition to that, they have to have the Associate of Applied Science or Associate's degree in nursing. Again, the benefit of this for non-traditional students, a lot of these students are working full-time, so it's designed for working professionals. They're able to go home and complete the work along with their other responsibilities. Within the admissions office in UNCW, just to give you guys an idea of sort of how we operate, we do have transfer-specific admissions counselors. Kelley and I are both transfer-specific. So all non-traditional students are going to fall under that transfer umbrella. Within our team of 7, we also have 2 that were designated specifically to work with non-traditional populations. That's important because non-traditional students like one point of contact that they can go to for their questions. They like to know that every time they're going to talk to the same person so they get the consistency with the information. That being said, we're all trained to work with these students though. So we can all answer their questions, we can all field their inquiries. And then like most institutions, we do operate with the admissions funnel model. So our idea is to cast a big net for prospects and then narrow that down until we have the students that are enrolled. This is really important for the non-traditional students, and I'm going to go over why later, but just keep that in mind. So some more information about transfer admissions. We have the same requirements for both traditional and non-traditional students. So in order to be competitive applicants, transfer students have to meet those requirements. Last fall, UNCW welcomed about 2,000 first-year students and about 1,500 transfer students for the incoming class. So we do have a welcome rate of 45% transfer students, which is something that we're pretty proud of. And on average, 23% of those are considered non-traditional. One of our points of pride at UNCW also is that we have the top transfer graduation rate in the UNC system. So not only are our recruitment efforts working, but our retention efforts are working as well.
Now, as Bobby mentioned, I am currently pursuing my master's in public sociology with a focus in sociology of education. So I've done a great amount of research within the field of education and applying that to this non-traditional population, as I do hope to study this recruitment and the retention efforts of this population and how we can assist them and support them. So when you first think of education, you do not think of sociology unless you're Dr. Berry, the keynote speaker from yesterday. However, sociology can be found in every facet of everyday life. So when I'm doing all my research, there's several theories that have popped up that I've seen resonate several times with this non-traditional population. Social identity theory is that individuals will identify with the same group. So not only within this non-traditional population do they identify with each other, but also if they are, have a family role, if they are military dependent or active duty, or if they are a professional, they will all identify with each other within those roles. And being able to support each other, and then also we support them within those roles will help them to succeed. Now, Malcolm Knowles in the 70s coined the term adult learning theory, and he defined this as the art and science of helping adults learn. And there's 6 principles to this, but the most important is the fact that adults are internally motivated and self-directed to learn. So what's important to this for the non-traditional student, and you will see this whenever we start looking at numbers, is that these students not only apply and they're not only admitted, but they follow all the way through and they enroll, and they know the importance of actually graduating and obtaining that degree even later in life. Now, non-traditional students, of course, are typically defined as those that are over the age of 24 or that are active duty or veteran service member. However, there are many other traits that can lead to the fact of them being a non-traditional student. So students that are military dependent again, that they may have a family role, maybe a professional, can lead to the fact that they are full-time or part-time. And so this can then lead to the fact that they could be non-traditional and be over the age of 24 when they actually start school or go back to school. So within our application process, we ask the student to account for time from when they graduate high school to present time. So as you can imagine, this can be a challenge for many students who are a little bit older, over the age 24. Within the program that I work with through the RN to BSN, I have a lot of students who are well over the age of 40, 50, even 60-year-olds. So they have a lot of time that they have to account for. So I see a lot of people who are stay-at-home mothers who have been in the working force for many years, and they account for that time. So I'm able to see that and see the experience and the life experience that they have and that they and the experiences they have had in their life and how that has shaped them and their desire to go back to school.
So now we'll show you guys some data that we found. Again, we examined into the past 3 academic years. And for the purposes of this, we just used the age qualifier because you can't really determine information based on like marital status. We don't ask that on the application or anything like that. So we're strictly going off the age here. So just keep that in mind. But the most interesting part about this data is the yield percentage, because these non-traditional students are moving all the way through that funnel consistently in the 80%. So out of the total that were admitted, on average, about 85% of them are enrolling. So when they come to us, it's because they know that they want to be there, they know they want to finish their degree, and they're going to follow through with that. A perfect example is Ron. Ron is a student at UNCW. He is earning his BA in English. Hopefully he'll graduate in 2016. That's 2 years. And he's 72 years old. And this is a student that our Associate Director of Transfer Admissions worked very closely with last year, enrolling him through the whole application process. So it's an example of a non-traditional main campus student. So some of the trends that we found with these students, basically where they're coming from is an important one because you need to know that. Most of them are coming from 2-year institutions. Out of about 500 each year, half of those were coming from our local community college in Wilmington, which is Cape Fear Community College. It's our biggest feeder school. So a lot of these non-traditional students are in the area, they're committed to the area, and they're staying there and they're finishing their degree with us at UNCW. In addition to that, consistently their GPAs were very close to our overall average transfer GPA, which is a 3.15, and it's continued to increase over the past 3 years. And then again, consistently, they're coming in with above average credit hours earned. So on average, our admitted transfer student comes in with 48 credit hours. These non-traditional students are coming in with 65 on average. So really what that told us was that they most likely have a 2-year degree. They're coming from 2-year institutions, they probably have an AA or an AS, and they're coming to finish their bachelor's.
Now, as Jessica mentioned earlier, our extension site is located at Coastal Carolina Community College in Jacksonville, North Carolina. There are majors that are offered there, and the student can obtain their BA or BS without even needing to come to the main campus. Now, within the past 3 years, as Jessica mentioned, we did study the data, and we found that about 25 to 30% of the population there was military dependent. So we do have a large amount of military dependents at that site. So the students, as you can see, while our admit number did actually go down a little bit, you can see the yield percentage, again, has risen all 3 years. Another important part about this population is the fact that we have a dedicated counselor like myself. I'm with the RN to BSN program, but pictured here is actually Carla. She's another one of our dedicated counselors to this military dependent, or to this extension population, and she's there to help them not only with the admissions part of it, but she's there for the financial aid portion as well. Now there's several trends, unique trends for this extension transfer population, but the two that are most important are the fact that the age has steadily increased over the past 3 years. As you can see, it's gone from 33 to 36, and then also the number of hours, just as our main campus non-traditional students has increased, and it's almost at 70 now. So these students are coming in with well over an associate's degree at this point.
So then we looked at our military affiliated population, and these are students that have the AD, which means active duty, or VET, which means veteran attribute, These students, that means on their application they identified that they either were serving or had served in the armed forces. And when we first looked at this data, we thought, we're losing a lot of students between the applied and admitted part of the funnel. But one thing that we have at UNCW, which is a little bit unique to us, is that we have a military admissions policy. So if students serve 2 or more years active duty, they're considered transfer students even if they have no traditional college credit. If they do have traditional college credit, they're still held accountable to our minimum GPA requirement, which is a problem for some military-affiliated students because maybe they went to college and they had a bad experience and then they went into the military. So what we do for those students that aren't competitive because of the GPA, we provide them with a contract or an education plan. It's basically an outline of the classes that they can take at a local community college to help boost their GPA and apply to their degree at UNCW that will in the future help them become competitive. So even though it looks like we're losing a lot of students between applied and admitted, a majority of those students probably are on an educational contract plan and they're probably attending Cape Fear, as you'll see in the graph I'm going to show you. But again, these students are about the same as the extension and the main campus. They're from the admitted to the enrolled, they're consistently enrolling if they are admitted. With military, it's a little bit different because these students have other life challenges like being deployed. So that happens, maybe they aren't able to come like they thought they were going to. This is Monte. This is probably one of my favorite pictures. He is a reservist after serving 8 years and being deployed twice. This is a picture from commencement of this year. He was promoted at commencement, so his commanding officers came to campus and held his promotion ceremony on campus in front of one of our main administrative buildings. Some of our transfer partners were able to be there. I was there that day, and it was just a great experience to kind of see the work that you do every day come full circle. He graduated with his BS in exercise science. He received several honors, including the most outstanding student in exercise science. So it was a really cool experience to watch it come full circle. Some unique trends that we found with this population, we looked at their majors that they were choosing, and overall, by far, the highest major was university college. That's because if a student comes in and they're not prepared to declare a major, in our office we change them to university college, which is like the general 2 years. So that way they have advisors that are helping them declare any major on campus. So most of these military students are coming in with either not enough credit hours or not enough prerequisite courses to be able to declare a major. Out of that university college, consistently, most of them fell within the arts and sciences. That's what they were trying to get to. But also a lot of them were trying to get to business eventually or one of the health services. And then where they're coming from. This was actually really interesting to Kelley and I. We expected that the majority of them were coming in with strictly military credit. That's actually about 20%. And then about 21% are coming from our 2 most local community colleges, Cape Fear and Coastal Carolina and Jacksonville. The large 13%, a large part of that are veteran students because they know, again, that they want to come to UNCW, so they commit to the Wilmington area. And then 60% were coming in with traditional college credit from somewhere. That included in-state and out-of-state, 2-year and 4-year schools. So it was really interesting that most of them did have traditional college credit, which again is why probably a large majority of them are on educational contracts. All right, now our RNBS program, for our application, something new that we've started just this past year is actually having a short answer essay for all these students to write. And the question is, why are you choosing this program? Our program is fully online, so the students actually never come to campus. The orientation's online, the advising's online, and all the courses are online in a 7.5-week format. So here's some essays. I kind of highlighted a couple of lines, so I'm going to let you just come and take a peek at them, read them real quick, and then we're just going to flip through them and I'll tell you a little bit more about the program.
So as you can see, I get a lot of students that are busy. They're mothers, they're professionals, and having a program that is fully online for these students, and they never have to come to campus, that is the best thing to them. Being able to take the classes without having to come and sit in a class at that, from 8 to 5 or from, at a certain time, it's the best thing ever for them. The program is in its infancy. We just started the program and implemented it in fall 2014, so we're just kind of getting it started. However, prior to us implementing the program in fall 2014, we did have an RN to BSN major at our extension site. It was not fully online. Some of the courses they still had to come to campus to take. One of the unique things about this RN to BSN online accelerated program is that all courses, even the university studies requirements, are online. So pre-fall 2013, we had 41 students that chose the RN to BSN major at our extension site. And as you can see, in 2013, when the program was implemented, we had 694 applications. So it went like crazy. And then this past year, we've had everything has more than doubled. Applied, admitted, and enrollment numbers have increased in every aspect. Since May of this year, we've had over 85 students who have applied to graduate of the program because it is such an accelerated type format. So students can graduate in as short as a year. So we've had 85 apply to graduate. 7 of those students applied to graduate with distinction, which means not only their UNCW credit, but also the credit prior to UNCW, they had a 3.5 GPA. So these students who are, 40, 50, 60, all their credit, they had over a 3.5 GPA. So this program that I'm one of the counselors for, and I read their applications daily, they are a true inspiration to me. I read their applications, I look at their work and their successes, and knowing that they're able to succeed, this non-traditional population is a true, just absolute inspiration to me.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about our recruitment strategies for these non-traditional students. Of course, we use traditional methods of recruiting like social media and email communication plans, but in addition to that, we have some that are sort of specifically tailored to these populations. Like I mentioned before, most of our non-traditional students are coming from our local community college. About once a month during the academic year, we do private visits there. So we go in, the transfer admissions counselors, and we're available all day from about 9 to 3:30. We meet with students one-on-one. We counsel them on applying for admission. During application season, when there's a lot of applications coming in, a lot of them come in and they want us to look at their application and see like missing items, if they need to have anything else in order for it to be completed. So that's really helpful for them to have that contact. So they're able to come to school like on a normal day, come to campus, but they're still able to meet with us. So we try to be accessible for them that way. We also attend Fall Fest and Spring Flings. Those happen about once a semester. They're like information fairs for these students. So the one at Cape Fear is very large. They have a lot of outside vendors and businesses coming in, but we're there attending as well just to provide them again with information. In addition to that, we have a comprehensive North Carolina Community College transfer guide. This is something that we built for our transfer students that were coming from a North Carolina community college. We're kind of lucky in North Carolina because we have an articulation agreement, the 57 community colleges and the 17 UNC system schools. So we know exactly how their credit is transferring in. All the community colleges are on the same numbering system. So we built this guide with course equivalency so the students can see if they're taking English 111 at Cape Fear, that's going to come to UNCW as English 101. They're also able to look at our university studies or our general education requirements and see which classes they can be taking at a community college to fulfill those requirements at UNCW. This is something that's really important for non-traditional students because they like the tangible guide, they like being able to check off every step. So we also include admission requirements as well as what the application process looks like and all of our contact information. In addition to that, we offer Friday tours during the academic year for transfer-specific students. One date especially, we do a military-specific tour. So on that day, the information is tailored to military-affiliated students, whether that be active duty, veteran, or military dependent. And then it's led by some of our teal guides, which Kelley will talk about later. But this year we had a veteran teal guide student, so he led our military tour. So that's nice because those students, they come in a lot of times with this idea that they're going to be the only 30-year-old on campus trying to get their degree, which is not the case. So it's really helpful for them to see that there are other people like them already doing what they want to be doing. So in addition to the guide, we have a military checklist for both active duty and veteran. And again, it's just one more thing because especially non-traditional military affiliated, they like the checklist. They like knowing exactly what they need to do and when they need to do it. So we go over each step for them and we break it down to something that they can literally and visually check off. This is an example of one of our military contracts. So as you can see, it is like an education plan that we're able to give them. And again, it's just that reassurance for them that they're on the right path, that they're doing what they need to do. And that helps us retain them in that portion from admitted or from applied to admitted. That's just so that we don't lose them if they're not admissible. And then finally, on campus, we also have open houses. We have one in the fall and one in the spring. And last spring, we did a military social. So students were able to come and get food. They could mingle with other military-affiliated students. They could pick up the checklist. And then we had some of our student workers that were military-affiliated there. So again, it was just sort of that networking, hey, I'm not the only one on campus that's in this situation. There are other people I can reach out to. So that was really successful for us.
Now, the Office of Admissions works with the integration of this non-traditional population to bring awareness to them in many ways. We have 2 front desk workers that are actually both transfer students. Darius, the one on the left, is a non-traditional student. He actually transferred directly from the military. He is over the age of 24 and he is married. And he was most recently actually promoted and given the title of the front desk student worker manager. Austin, he is actually just a transfer student, but he transferred to us from another UNC school. Both of them they went there this summer, and so they were there to help out in any way. And whenever students walk in and they see these transfer students, it is a great opportunity to show that, hey, we're transfer friendly, we're non-traditional friendly, we're part of this campus. We also have what we call a VA work study student. Patty, she's kind of in the middle of the picture on the right. Patty is a student worker in our office, and she not only produces a blog weekly for our VA students, but she also helped us create the military checklist Jessica was speaking about. And also, she lets us know what non-traditional students want, what they need. She's kind of like their voice, and what would have helped her, as not only as a veteran, but also as a non-traditional student. Also, Jessica spoke a little bit about the Teal Guides. These are our Teal Guides from this past year. It's a program that was created in 2012. We had 3 students that were there, and it's increased up this year to this many. We already have 50 students that are actually interested now, so we're still kind of growing. And these students lead these transfer-specific tours on Friday. And as Jessica mentioned, there is a military-specific tour. But these students share their experience. Not only do they give these tours, but they also help us write a blog. They help us with our socials and the visits that we have, the 2, one in the spring, one in the fall, and any other way that we could use them to help us to recruit and spread the word that transfer students are welcome here on our campus and the non-traditional population is welcome. And get involved with the different opportunities that we have here on campus. Also, at the actual UNCW campus, the whole university, you can do that stuff. There is a Beta Tau Sigma we have a Tau Sigma Transfer Honor Society that was founded in 2012, and it continues to grow. The society not only meets on campus, but they also meet at the extension site. And Jessica is actually one of the advisors for it. So the students are able to meet and assist with, they have fundraisers, and they assist also with any kind of recruitment and meetings with our visit days as well. We also have what we call Perch. This is a chance and advocate for this non-traditional population. And it's a chance for them to feel that they have a voice, someone that's there for them. So we offer them not only that person that's there if they need assistance on campus and know that there's involvement for them, but also it helps them if they need financial aid abilities to help with childcare, And we also offer tutoring service for 100 and 200 level math and science courses. But like, just to let them know that get involved. We have an involvement carnival the second week of classes to say, hey, there's tons of non-traditional organizations on campus for the students to be involved and to be a part of. So don't just sit back and think you're the only one that's like this. There's plenty of non-traditional students out there just like you.
And one more thing that I wanted to point out about the perch that's really important for this non-traditional population. There's also an off-campus housing finder because most non-traditional students don't want to live on campus in the freshman or sophomore dorms. So they are able to go on that website if they have a UNCW student ID number. They're able to log in and look for apartment complexes in and around the campus. So that way they're so close, but they're not living on campus, or if they have families, they're able to accommodate that.
Okay, so we have thrown tons of information at you all today, but we have some ideas, of how we can improve, not only as a university, but as an office. So in a perfect world where we have tons of money as a university, to be able to offer this non-traditional population childcare, to be able to offer additional night, weekend, online courses, and to have additional extension sites, and to have computer literacy courses for this non-traditional, especially this OAP program, where these students are a bit older and they may not be as computer and tech savvy as some of the younger populations. But then also, just as an admissions office, having non-traditional operating hours. I mean, we all work, I know I work 8 to 5, and so this population 9 times out of 10 does as well, so they can't call during these hours and speak to someone, so they're having to email at odd hours. And so to have those non-traditional hours to be able to assist them, so just ideas and ways that we can better assist them, and in addition to the ways we're already assisting and helping with the recruitment of this population.
Okay, so now is sort of our interactive part, if you will. We'd really like to get some feedback from you all, because we feel that's really the best way to generate new ideas, is just to get more information. So if you would, we're going to do like a turn and talk exercise. So if you just want to chat with your neighbor, or you can answer the questions on your own. We just had some talking points. Basically, we'd like to know, what does non-traditional mean to you? We'd also like to know if there are offices that you're, or if there are practices that your office or your institution employs that we didn't mention that you think are great ideas. Or if there are any non-traditional student populations that you work with that we didn't mention. We'd really like to know about that, as well as maybe some things that you have for moving forward as well, either at your institution or in your office. So if you would. And then sort of when you're done, I think we'll take about 5 minutes to do that. We talked really fast, so maybe 10 minutes. And then at the end, we'll sort of have like an open forum and we can share some ideas. So.